Good morning, everybody. Virgo here. It is December 3rd, 2019. Happy Tuesday to everyone. This is going to be an interesting video because I want to catch you guys up on more than just the Sharon Tracy Gale stuff. Now, in the past, we've paid special attention to the sob-sit Moors that continue to go on rants and spread misinformation. Actually, it's more like disinformation. And to me, there's a difference. Misinformation to me is information that is information someone's gotten and they are giving out inappropriate or not so much inappropriate as misunderstood information. So maybe they haven't researched enough, but they honestly believe that something is what it is not, and so therefore they are spreading information that is erroneous. Disinformation is what the Moorish American Consulate Group does. And with the absence of Sharon Tracy Gale, because of the fact she is in jail right now, like Tajiri Bey has taken over that post, and I must say, doing a bang-up job spreading disinformation. Disinformation is what I would classify as purposely going out there, full well knowing what you're saying is a bunch of bullshit, and spreading it for the purpose of financial gain or to cause chaos within a specific group. We already know that with a lot of the investigative work that was done to flush out Shalimar Bey, Mark Ritchie, that we have his sister here in like Tajiri Bey, also known as Pauline, who has a tendency to be a part of a family that appears to have some pretty strong ties to political figures and military, law enforcement, Secret Service, that sort of thing. Now, even though we were able to determine that Mark was not actually high enough in the chain of political powers to be a actual quote-unquote Secret Service agent, and that almost all of the pictures that were located on his Facebook page were photoshopped just to make him look like he was. He was in politics, and he was did work for the mayor or the governor, I can't remember which, and he actually ran a government office. He was the director of public affairs, I believe, in Tennessee. So we are not talking about a group of people that are not linked to the government. Now, funny enough, this grouping of individuals that follows the Moorish American Consulate seems to be absolutely terrified at the concept that they may have internally an agent that is possibly trying to get them caught up, but yet they're still following Light Tajiri Bey because she's dishing out all of the rhetoric and hate that she possibly can muster up. And some things are starting to catch up with her. Let's talk about this for a minute. Now, last week, I believe it was the 28th or the 29th, like Tajiri Bey decided to do a video talking about the Moorish National Republic Federal Government's court and how there were a couple of officers that she was calling in to their phone call court. Now, I call it a phone call court because, I mean, most courts, there's an address. You go there, you show up, there's a judge, a couple of attorneys, one that's for you, one that's against you, and you stand there and you either have a jury trial with a jury of peers, or you are being, it's a trial where the judge is hearing it from the bench. Either way, you're physically having to go there. At the very least, There's an address that you can actually walk into in order to get your transcripts, in order to pick up a copy of the case, whatever you may need to do from the clerk of courts, or from the court clerk there. But as Light Tajiri Bay tells it, they're the only true court, and it doesn't really matter whether they have an address or not, or even if they even all get together in order to try a case. They can do it by phone, by conference call, as a matter of fact. And that is exactly what they attempted to try to do in order to get these two individuals to show up to court. Now, if you look on Degeneration Nation's channel, you'll see that there is a video that is actually quite funny with the entire phone call, conference call of their court being in session. But this is a little bit more serious of a video, as mine always tend to be, because I'm actually going to talk about some information that Mr. Swindle Hoodwinked and his channel were able to find out last week. And just as soon as yesterday, as a matter of fact, got to speak to law enforcement with regards to some things that are happening around Miss Light Tajiri Bay. So what you're looking at is a document which is calling for the arrest and indefinite imprisonment of these two specific police officers if they don't show up to court. And I guarantee you, in a kangaroo court scenario, she's all kinds of mad. So they would have lost regardless, because let's face it, it's not a fair and just hearing when you're dealing with all of the people that are sitting on the jury as jurists being all part of one group and totally biased. But that's the point of a kangaroo court now, isn't it? Let's take a look at what Light Tajiri Bay actually says on her Facebook page. You can see the threats are pretty massive, and apparently she's either ignorant or arrogant enough, maybe both, to believe that nobody's watching this. We are the sovereign jurisdiction on our land. Andy Hwang, DBA, Federal Way Police Chief. There is an image of the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine, Moorish American flag in the upper right-hand corner of this photo that you and your agents took an oath to. Clearly, you and your agents' principals, heirs, and assigns have broken said oath and are now commanded to appear, as stated by the people who are the de jure original indigenous sovereign Moorish American consular court. Failure to appear shall be just cause for your arrest. We have proclaimed peace on our land, and so it is. Now I'm going to take you over to a picture that was taken of these two police officers who, ironically enough, were visiting Miss Light Tajiri Bay. Here we go. Here is a still photo of the two officers who are walking up the driveway. And you can see that Light Tajiri Bay has posted it on her Facebook page a week ago and states, "This is a couple of corporate policy enforcers providing us with proof of their unlawful occupation of our sovereign, original indigenous lands. They were attempting to manufacture consent at my domicile, but as you know, we don't play that. They were looking for U.S. citizens on sovereign property, where there are no U.S. citizens, but they knew that when they came. They were hoping we did not know. We did not answer the door nor speak to them at all. We went on about our foremothers' and forefathers' business." Then she goes in to write, after the fact, of another comment coming in, and states, "Our prophet said that some of them would have to face death before they do as they should." This is a message for Pauline. Pauline, You have allowed your arrogance and your ignorance of the real law get in the way of your senses. And as a result, there is a cell that is being held for you right next to Sharon Tracy Gale if you continue to go down this route. You see, my dear, you are being investigated. And whether you like it or not, it's because of your grifting. And you obviously don't plan on stopping. So as a result, the ending will be as you make it. I have to say, in this case, and only in this case, your brother was smart to resign. You would be smart to stop. But since I know you probably won't, and you have been following Taj Tariq long enough for him to have brainwashed you into believing that what you are saying and doing is accurate, you will be probably the next person on the Moorish list that the Virgo Triad channel will be reporting on as being imprisoned. For those of you that are following Taj Tariq Bey, the Moorish American Consulate, Sharon Tracy Gale Bey, or Light Tajiri Bey, I warn you, before this is all over with, many of you will be in jail serving time if you continue going forward with these shenanigans. Don't you find it interesting that someone who considers themselves to be not only a judge, but also some form of godly creature, or at least a queen-like creature, and has all this power, was afraid to answer the door and talk to just the regular police? Do you not think that it's a little bit strange that two police officers are coming to visit, to ask some questions, and yet they were too scared to even acknowledge that anyone was at the door? Your slip is showing, Pauline. I suggest you pull it up and leave while you can. Because if you continue to go down this route and mislead people, as so many before you in the Sovset world have, like Winston Shrout, Heather Antucci, and so many more, Roger Elvick, I mean, we could go on, the list is hundreds of them. You too will find yourself, well, how do you say it? Caught up. Make no mistake, ma'am. The red flag has gone up and you are now under surveillance. You are now being investigated. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I wanted to just give Pauline a little advice in the hopes that, unlike everyone else that I've given advice to in this group of individuals, that she might be smart enough to listen to it. But I unfortunately have the feeling that she will be just like Sharon when it comes to my advice, and next we will be reporting on her arrest. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.